Anyone can have a gimme, but it really gets interesting when you go for two. The Go for Two podcast starting now.
This is your number one source for everything football, the Go for Two podcast. This is everybody's favorite couch quarterback, Dante, and I'm here with my man, Don, the stats guru.
Hey, we are live today recording at Holy Grounds Coffee House in downtown Oxford, PA. It's the week before the Super Bowl, Dante, and we got some special stuff going on here today.
Hey, man, have you watched the Skills Challenge at all?
I have not.
That's like the best thing on Pro Bowl week. Like, totally.
That's about the only thing worth watching.
Yeah,
Pro
exactly.
Bowl's a joke, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Nobody watches that. So I think that's like the worst thing about football season, other than, I don't know, the 5th, 6th, and 7th round of the draft.
Something like that.
Yeah, man. So we're here at Holy Grounds Coffee House out there in Oxford, Pennsylvania. The owner, Jeff, actually invited us out to do another live showing.
Yep.
And we're looking to have some fun. We're going to get him on later on to do a segment about his Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, that's right. Man has some taste. What can I say?
Yeah. And, and Don is also an Eagles fan as well. So,
well, after our live podcast recording, we are scheduled to have a rock, paper, scissors tournament here. It's a rainy day, so we're not really sure what the crowd's going to look like, but we'll see who the champion of Oxford is if we get that tournament rolling afterwards.
Yeah.
We do have a very nice trophy courtesy of James Groff and Sons in Quarryville. A special shout-out thanks to Emily in the Laserworks division for a nice job on the trophy. They've had it on display here in the coffee house for the past week or so. And like you said, we'll be talking to the owner here, Jeff, the face that runs the place. And we'll see what he has to say. And this is episode 15, Dante.
Episode 15.
And it's
rocking it out.
January 25th. Hey, that's actually a special day. That's my parents' wedding anniversary. Of course, my dad did pass in 2013, but happy anniversary, Mom. I know you'll be listening to the podcast later.
Yeah. Shout out to Don's mom and, his mom and dad on their anniversary. Always a great time to remember the good times.
That's it. Absolutely.
So we're going to go ahead and lead into our first topic here, Don. What you got? All right.
What happens in the offseason with the NFL players? What's going on with some of the players? So let's start out with the one that I have the most data on, the one who has not surprised. He's in trouble again. That would be Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown, the knucklehead of the NFL. I think at this point we just want to forget about everything.
Yeah.
And of course, like I said before, remember the good times.
That's right.
Because the bad times are upon us with him. I mean, beating up your guy that's moving your furniture in your house, I guess. I guess this is what we do now.
Oh, man.
I watched a video of him actually in the courtroom. Seemed like he's just a lost soul.
Yeah.
One thing that the judge did say is that she wanted a mental evaluation.
Yes, absolutely.
Which is probably good for everybody involved.
Yep. He's got to go through drug and alcohol testing, get that mental health evaluation. He has to release his passport and his guns, and he's on GPS monitoring.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, it is. I mean, 3 charges of burglary with assault or battery, burglary of an unoccupied conveyance, and criminal mischief of less than $1,000. What? I mean, he can't play football, so this is the best thing he can do?
Yeah, of course. He never finds – it seems like he never finds the right things to do while trying to find a job again. You say that you want to play, but no, I don't want to play.
That's right.
Man, I'm going to beat up the moving guy. Like, it's absolutely insane. So, not really sure the direction that he really wants to go in at this point. Hopefully he can get it figured out, man.
Yeah, like you said, the knucklehead of the NFL. I like that.
Yeah, absolutely, the knucklehead of the NFL that's not even involved with the NFL anymore, but seems to find itself having the bad taste of the NFL still.
Yep.
As they say, protect the shield, things like that. But, it's like third hand he is involved in everything that's bad.
Yep. Yeah.
So, and he's not even playing. It's crazy.
No, we'll just see his exploits go on and on and on, and I don't expect to see him back.
Yeah. Hopefully they could do some investigation on neurologically on people's brains before to figure out if somebody does have signs of CTE, because it's kind of all we can do is speculate. It's kind of disrespectful to say that this person does have it.
Right.
He might not have it at all.
Yeah.
You can't figure it out until the man dies. So I kind of hate when they say that this guy definitely has CTE. Like, how do you know?
Exactly.
There's nothing proven to say that he does or doesn't.
That's it.
So
You ready for our next person?
Oh yeah.
Okay, next. Eli Manning retires.
Yeah, he announced it yesterday.
Yep.
That he's finally retired from the NFL. I kind of think it was long overdue.
I agree with you.
The last couple of years, he really hasn't looked himself. I mean, he's had some sparks here and there, and that's because he is a professional quarterback and had all those weapons on his team that made him probably look way better than he actually is. But
well, he does have some interesting stats. He did throw for over 57,000 yards, 366 touchdowns, which puts him 7th all-time in both categories.
Yep.
He did throw 244 interceptions. I think it might be in a class by himself there.
Right.
And a 500 record. He was 117 and 117. Did win 2 Super Bowls, and he was the MVP both times.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things with him is the conversation is going to get brought up if he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
To me, not first ballot.
No, not first ballot.
You can't ignore his stats and the 2 Super Bowl MVPs, which, and winning 2 Super Bowls over Tom Brady, that has to be something where we had to put into consideration.
Yeah, definitely.
Perfect example of somebody that they're probably going to consider to be in the Hall of Fame one day is Michael Vick. I know we talked about that before.
Yes, we did.
But how he transcended the game, not necessarily being the most statistical.
Right.
By statistics standards, the greatest quarterback ever, but the way that he transcended the game he might get in it eventually. But I think now that he retires, he better hope that Drew Brees doesn't retire this year, that Ben Roethlisberger doesn't retire this year. There's a couple other people that I think are on the brink of retiring that probably may be more deserving than him to get into the Hall of Fame.
Right.
And I think that's where it's going to get real delayed for him. I see him going maybe on the 3rd or 4th ballot when it comes around after his 5 years is up. But I don't think he's a Hall of Famer right now.
No, I agree. The most interesting thing on his retirement was the tweet I saw from Tom Brady.
Oh, yeah.
Brady tried to make it all about himself. He's like, congratulations on your retirement and a great career, Eli. He says, not going to lie, though, I wish you hadn't won any Super Bowls. Leave it to Tom Brady to make it all about himself,
Of course. You could have had 8, but you got 6.
Yeah.
Eli ruined your day.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, and of course, they're going to consider that in his Hall of Fame ballot voting that he did breed. He did beat.
Yes, he did.
A transcendent quarterback like Tom Brady, who is arguably the greatest of all time, which I've already told my opinion. I think Drew Brees is the greatest, but it's one of those things where you have to consider that in all conversations when he's considered to be in the Hall of Fame.
Gotcha. Well, we got another one for the knucklehead list here. Kareem Hunt. He's cited for a speeding violation, and they found small amounts of weed in 3 different places in the car.
I told my wife the other day, I said, something happens the first time, like him beating up his girlfriend, I guess, allegedly, on the video.
Right.
But you really see what person it truly is the second time they do something. Kind of justifies the first time of what they actually did. So,
sure does.
So, along with Kareem Hunt, we don't want to follow this up on a bad note, but we got Jeff from Holy Grounds Coffee. He is the owner, CEO,
the
CFO,
face that runs
CTO.
The place. I'm telling you.
So, welcome to the show, Jeff. Thanks for hosting us here.
Oh, we appreciate you guys coming out.
Yeah, it's an awesome coffee shop, man.
Thank you.
I like what you did with the place.
Yep, beautiful. Love it. So we're going to talk some Philadelphia Eagles with one of our big Philadelphia Eagles fans here today.
Yeah.
So, Dante, you can jump in with questions, and I got some questions here for him.
All right.
So we'll just start off very briefly and vaguely. Jeff, what were your thoughts on the 2019 season for the Eagles?
Disappointing, obviously, but I also believe a ton of injuries
Yeah, definitely.
changed everything. You lose a key player here and a key player there. It affects everything.
It does.
Overall, pleased they made the playoffs, but still disappointed.
Yeah, Yeah, I think I feel the same.
Yeah, the hype at the beginning of the season, we were like, sound like we're going to be shoo-ins to the Super Bowl.
And then you lose players right away, week one. I mean, it's crazy. It was a tough season. It was definitely frustrating.
Well, one thing I can say about the Eagles is, with all the injuries that you guys had, Doug Peterson deserves some credit for getting his guys together and actually making a run at the playoffs. Because the Cowboys, I know you guys hate it, but the Cowboys were the most talented team in that division that just crumbled beneath themselves.
They did crumble.
And that came down to the coaching, and they got rid of the problem. But then they got another problem with Mike McCarthy, who doesn't know how to deal with talent either. So they're probably going to be in the same situation as last year. But, yeah, you guys deserve a lot of credit for throwing the team together that you had with what you had. I mean, getting a guy from Wawa at the cash register to play wide receiver for you guys.
All right. Jeff made some coaching changes at the end of the season. They got rid of their offensive coordinator and wide receivers coach. Defensive backs coach left. Any thoughts on who you'd like to see come in?
Not any particular names, but just somebody that's more of the mold of Frank Reich.
Yeah, oh boy, they miss him, don't they?
They miss him terribly.
Oh, terribly.
They say all the time he was the brains behind the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I believe that.
Yeah, it's been kind of interesting to see what they're going to do. Are they looking for a young, inventive mind to come in, or are they looking for that old-style coach who's been around for a while who can really help Doug out on the offense?
Well, Deuce Staley's been mentioned.
Yep.
McDowell, he's actually been talked to about the position. I'm not sure that's the answer.
Right.
But, it's going to be interesting. But, yeah, I do believe that some of the things they're addressing wide receivers coach.
Yeah.
Obviously in need of. So, but no names jump out at me. I just want somebody that's a little more in the mold of a Frank Reich.
I like that.
Yeah, your secondary and wide receivers are the pain points of the team.
Yeah.
I don't think a wide receivers coach, and you might disagree, but I don't think a wide receivers coach is going to tell them how to catch at this point. That's God-given ability.
Well,
there.
I think they had that ability. I just don't think the coach that they had as wide receivers coach before was respected. And I think that caused a lot of the issues.
Oh, of course.
So
when you're a pushover, I mean.
Yeah. I think that was the big issue. One of the issues that kind of has come back to haunt the Eagles a little bit is they had a lot of core players from the Super Bowl, and they wanted to hang on to them, and they re-signed them, and they're getting older. What are your thoughts on some of those older ones this year?
I believe they got to finally sever the ties with some of these guys. They just re-up. Jason Peters.
Jason Peters, yep.
As well as he's done for the Eagles, it's time to move on. You got Dillard sitting there that's number one pick that probably should have played a lot more than he did this past year.
I agree with you there. That's good observation.
But, it's some of these guys, Aguilar, you're thankful for the year he had in 17, but it's like, what happened?
Right.
He fell off the...
Yeah, and they brought back Darren Sproles, and he was injury-prone, and it was a nice gesture and everything, but it seems like the injuries, as we mentioned before, are just piling up. Jason Peters can't get through a whole game. Sproles is out for weeks on end, so I think moving on from that, I think, makes a lot of sense.
So, going on with the offensive line, I think underlying that's a big problem for the Eagles as well. I mean, you had the guy at running back this year that looked like Barry Sanders to be such a small guy, but to protect Carson should be one of their main goals, as long as getting good wide receivers that can actually catch and good defensive backs as well. But the most importantly, what we saw with the Colts that happened this year for them to go in the draft and get Quentin Nelson, who is a young guy, made the Pro Bowl, was one of the best offensive lines. You guys don't have anything to lose. Start drafting offensive linemen that are young, that are hungry, that are going to want to protect Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
Because you guys threw everything in the kitchen sink at that guy, it's like you might as well just protect your investment, or else you're going to have another Andrew Luck on your hands.
Very true.
All right. So what do you think is their biggest need for 2020? Do you think it is wide receiver? Do you think it's defensive backfield? What do you think?
I think they need corners. We need to get two corners. Two of ours are free. And I guess Rodney McLeod, the safety, is free. Got to upgrade to at least one wide receiver.
Right.
Even with these young kids, JJ Arceo-White,
Yeah.
You just don't know what you have there. So,
I agree with you.
But you pass on players that Metcalf that end up ultimately burning the Eagles in the end, and it seems like we think we're smarter than everybody when it comes to draft.
Yeah, and
you miss the obvious right
now.
Yeah,
exactly.
it's an ego thing for sure.
Yeah, that was tough with JJ. You see what DK Metcalf did to him, and he was available, and it's tough.
Seahawks took a chance though because DK Metcalf's hands were questionable. I mean, he could have been an Eagles receiver too.
Yeah.
That's true too. And an edge rusher. I think we're getting a little long at the tooth. Brandon Graham still gets you everything he's got every play, but
right.
When Barnett's never been that number one that we expected.
Never stepped up, right?
And injury prone. And then when you got Vinny Curry and who's your other edge. That's definitely a need right there.
Yeah.
So corners, probably that order too. Corners, wide receiver, and then probably an edge rusher.
Yeah, that's very important. Edge rusher will open up everything on your defensive backfield as well.
Yep, exactly.
You're putting pressure on the quarterback and makes the wide receivers they can't go as far as what they would want to do. Can't run their routes correctly. The ball gets out of there all wacky, gives the defensive back a chance to make a play. So yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting.
All right, let's get into some of your favorites, Jeff. Give me some 1 or 2, 3 of your favorite Eagles all time. All time.
I'd have to say Mike Quick is probably my favorite receiver.
Like that. Definitely. Good receiver.
Great receiver.
Love it.
And Bill Burry back in the day.
Nice.
Yeah, him and Frank LeMaster.
Yep.
Had a great linebacking core
Yep,
there.
absolutely. I like it.
Game's changed so much that the linebacker isn't.
At least not in the Eagle scheme. It's not in the forefront anymore. I miss that.
Yeah.
And I always thought Jaws and Ron Jaworski was a guy that could keep getting knocked down, but always stood up and seems like he could make the throw. In my eyes, he was a great quarterback. He really was. Just probably a lot underrated for what he accomplished. But he was tough.
He was tough. He was very durable.
That's how I feel about Mark Brunell too.
Exactly.
Same way. I don't think he was a Hall of Famer by any means. In my mind, he's a Hall of Famer. But he was tough. He had a pair of legs on him. He was a left-handed quarterback. And he had 2 good wide receivers to go along with it. And he made them look probably better than they actually were, to be completely honest. Not Jimmy Smith, but maybe Keenan McCardell.
So, Jeff, what about Eagles coaching? You got any favorites out there, 1 or 2 that were your favorites?
Top one for me would be Vermeil.
Vermeil.
It probably should be Doug Peterson because he won us a Super Bowl.
He did do that.
But, I love Dick Vermeil. I just thought he was.
I did too.
He's a local guy here.
Yeah.
Lives relatively close.
Yeah.
But he seemed all he wanted to do was win.
Yep.
Always had the right attitude. Very, you say player friendly. He was definitely a player friendly coach, but he knew where to draw the line in the sand.
Right, and he was successful, and he moved on elsewhere and was successful. So definitely a good coach.
Yeah.
Any particular game or moment? I mean, I know we got the Miracle in the Meadowlands 1 and 2 and everything. Is there any particular ones that really stand out? Like, man, I love that. Every time I see it, it's my favorite.
The second Miracle in the Meadowlands with Deshaun.
Yes.
I mean, that was amazing.
That was insane.
Especially when we were down that game.
Yeah.
And then to come back, and that was probably my most memorable.
Okay.
But obviously the Super Bowl. It's hard to trump that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Especially with the heartache that when the Eagles lost to New England. And by the way, who was the best player on the field that game?
04?
Yeah, Terrell Owens.
Sure he was.
With a broken leg?
Yep.
With a broken leg, absolutely.
Yep.
Him and McNabb are still.
Yeah, they're still going on.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, and I mean, one of the best moments ever in the Super Bowl for Philly with that Philly special play, I mean, it is just getting
that's going to forever live
recognition.
on. Yeah.
So definitely. One of the former Eagles made it to the Hall of Fame this year, Harold Carmichael. Big receiver, 6'8". What are your thoughts on Harold finally making it? Deserving?
Yes, I believe so. He's a gentleman.
Oh, he is.
He's
nice guy.
Great player. I mean, that goes back to I guess Roman Gabriel, early George.
True, yeah.
And just he was amazing to watch. I was a lot younger then, probably didn't understand the game like I do now.
Right.
But I just knew he was kind of that elite go up and get it guy and get in the red zone. He's your man, you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
They could triple team him, and it seemed like he'd still with the ball.
I mean,
yeah, it was time. I think.
his height is what impressed me so much. I couldn't get over it. Actually met him one time and got his autograph. Way back in the day, Philadelphia Eagles would come out in the off season, and they actually played basketball against school faculties. And I got to go to Elkton one time, and I got to see the Eagles play, and Harold Carmichael was there. And just standing next to him as a kid, it was just like, oh, my God, look how big this guy is.
Yeah, exactly.
He was 6'8". So, yeah, that was pretty cool. He was always a nice guy. So, all right, a few more things for you here, Jeff. Carson Wentz. Let's first hit on that Jadeveon Clowney hit that knocked him out of the playoff game this year.
You know,
Nothing was
I'm
done
glad
from
you
the
brought
league.
that up because I'm very interested. And I'll tell you, this person that we used to work with, I had to get in that off the air, but
Okay.
I wonder how you feel about that.
Yeah.
Because I'm a Seahawks fan, too.
Exactly.
So that's my NFC team.
I personally just believe the game is so fast that, for somebody to actually premeditate a hit like that, I just think a lot of that is just coincidental. It just happens, It's because the game's so fast. I don't think there was any, anything behind that trying to hurt somebody, knock them out of the game. I don't believe that a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the game is changing so much. It's I don't want to say it's two-hand touch, but it is tackle football.
It is.
That's what they're supposed to do, and I don't think there was any intent there to hurt.
Okay.
I really don't. And saying all that, he's a free agent. I'd love to have him as a
There you go.
Exactly. What if the coincidence is you guys sign him and you said you need an edge rusher?
Yeah.
That'd be the perfect guy.
It would be the perfect guy.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion on that whole thing is for people that haven't played football, yeah, like you said, something premeditated like that to go and hurt somebody when Jadeveon Clowney's been known to hit people, like, really hard. I mean, remember when he hit that guy from South Carolina when they was playing Michigan in the bowl game? And it was, like, right off the line, hit the running back, knocked his helmet off, and people were like, oh, he's a dirty player. How can you say that? It's almost the same thing. I mean, I understand it was helmet to helmet or whatever it was. Send him a fine, say, hey, just watch yourself next time.
Yeah.
But as far as like calling him a dirty player, that's Ndamukong Suh's of the world, guys like that who are really dirty players just stomping on people. I didn't see that at all. I just saw game speed. The guy got hurt. And let's be honest, Carson Wentz, I've always said, is made out of cookie dough. Like, I mean, he's not the most, like, not injury-prone person. He's very injury-prone. He did that even when he was with North Dakota State. The same thing. He got hurt a lot. And that's why I said probably what you guys need to focus on more than anything is an offensive line, and then everything else come second or third.
Well, with the Clowney hit, I think what made the biggest difference to Eagles fans is the fact that there was no fine for the helmet-to-helmet hit. There was no repercussions of any type. I mean, the network didn't even really address it. And he was out of the game, and they didn't talk about it for like 20 minutes. It was crazy.
The head of referee operations, he needs to go because all the calls that they made this year, all the games. Think about all the games throughout since week 1 that were decided on a pass interference not being called or just a bad play call. Like, the whole referee operations department needs to just get up and go, have somebody else to head that off because it's terrible. I mean, you implement a new rule where you're able to challenge pass interference and it's blatant. I mean, it's obvious to everybody, even the people sitting at home, and they don't call it back.
Yeah.
Because the guy upstairs is calling it now, not the guy on the field.
Exactly.
Which I think you taking the power out of the guy that's actually on the field it doesn't really give you credibility.
Right.
I mean, who knows? This guy might be paying, getting paid a check on the side. Hey, $20K, don't call that.
Few more things on Carson. Jeff, I'll run down 3 or 4 things here. You can pick 1 or 2, address what you think is most important. As Dante said, injury prone. He's had coaches changes as far as his offensive coordinator, things like that. Does that make a big difference? His slow starts, definitely known this season for slow starts. And then what he actually did accomplish with the practice squad players. Any of that, any one of those particular things strike a bell that really want to?
I think you could see his potential greatness when he did play with that practice squad.
Yeah.
And when he's on, he's on. Like, some weeks you just don't know what Carson you're going to get. And,
right.
And a lot of that comes to coaching. Working with a new quarterbacks coach,
right.
offensive coordinator. But I think ultimately, he's a talent, but will he ever reach his potential? Well, I hope so.
I do too.
I hope so in Philadelphia. But other than that, he is. You said cookie dough. That's probably a pretty good evaluation. He's not been very dependable as far as staying healthy.
You hold your breath every time that guy gets hit.
Yeah.
It's very true. And he'll learn as he goes that he changes style. You need to slide when you're you don't need to go head first all the time.
Yeah.
And I love the part that he thinks he's invincible and wants that extra yard, but you also got to think about your team too and the repercussions if you get hurt. So,
exactly.
But overall thrilled he's here. Gave up a ton to get him, but hopefully we have that guy. It seems like he's always in the other town,
Right.
But hopefully he's our guy for a while.
I agree.
Yeah, I think that also Carson has a little bit of an ego that is not really expressed. Like, you don't see it on him. He's a very humble guy, but especially during not this season, last season when he hurt his back, had that spinal injury. Mm-hmm. And like week 6 or 7, he came back and was playing, and people were like, well, you should have sat out. But like I was telling Don, you have your good Eagles fans like you guys, and you also have your egotistical Eagles fans who are like, come back, Carson, you can do it. The fans are getting you hurt at this point. So I think it's a mixture of both. I think he has a little bit of an ego, especially when people are hyping him up like, you can be the best. You can take us to the next level. And it was also disrespectful to Nick Foles, who took you through the playoffs and won your Super Bowl. It's like you have all the confidence in the world that the guy can get it done, and he understood his role. It wasn't like he was there to be the starter. He knew that he was going to be the backup, that Carson was the future. It's just little mistakes like that is just chipping off his longevity as he goes throughout his career. And I'm just afraid, like, in the next year or two, we're going to see another press conference like Andrew Luck, and everybody's going to be like, why did he have to retire? Because the Eagles didn't take care of him.
We definitely don't want that. That's for sure.
Oh, that'll hurt you guys' pockets right there.
All right. Super Bowl's coming up, Jeff, and Andy Reid, former Eagles coach, is in the Super Bowl. Is it okay to root for Andy now that we already have the Super Bowl in Philly, even though he couldn't provide it for us? Is it okay to root for him?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I hope nothing but the best for him. I'm pulling for that team because of Andy Reid.
Okay.
I felt like he gave us good years here. It always didn't work out. He got us the NFC Championship. I want to say 4 times. And he was still is an outstanding coach. He was outstanding here. Just always the personnel we put together didn't work out. You can't always blame the coach for that. He's not the GM too, but even though he had a lot to say, but ultimately I hope he does well, and I am pulling for Andy Reid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
It seems like his I know a big knock against him even in the early 2000s. It's like his time management of games is just like super, super bad.
Really.
Yeah.
And that's what cost him a lot of the times too, is just his time management. But it seems like he's kind of tightened that up a lot more, and that's why the Chiefs are having a lot of success. Hey, if you really think about it, they had a lot of success with Alex Smith behind the helm as well.
Yep. Yes, they did.
So I think he's kind of like got a second breath to life. I mean, he still has his Andy Reid moments, don't get me wrong, but when he just lets his players do their thing, he's totally a player's coach, and I like that about him. He's letting Patrick Mahomes really run that team. Run the offense. I know you got this. We'll try to protect you as much as we can, but I'll call the plays and you execute. And I think it's a beautiful relationship. I mean, he had that same relationship with Donovan, too.
Yeah.
But I think even more so, you got the most transcendent quarterback we've seen since Andrew Luck on the field. So,
all right, Jeff, one last thing, and then I'll let you go. You can get back to work and talk about a former Eagle back from 88 to 94. Cornerback that they had who was the only NFL player to run back 3 or more interceptions for a touchdown in 2 different seasons. Eric Allen. You remember Eric Allen?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Reason I'm asking is just for appreciation for letting us be here today. I want to give you a nice old-fashioned Eagles pennant from '67 autographed by Eric Allen.
That is so awesome, man.
I did get to meet him at one point, so got his autograph. And since you're a fellow Eagles fan, as appreciation, there you go, sir.
got the old school font and logo.
I
and
know,
helmet.
isn't it great?
Really cool. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome.
But yeah, I loved Eric Allen.
Yes.
Loved him, absolutely.
Great player.
Yes, he was.
So,
Well, thanks, Jeff, for
Thank you.
hosting us today, man. We'll be looking at the Eagles with the draft coming up and see exactly what they do. Maybe we should just all get together and be a GM for today.
yeah, wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, it'd be nice, right?
That's awesome.
I mean, I did call the Giants drafting Daniel Jones.
Yes, you did. You
I don't
were
have
on-
any connections to the Eagles or to the Giants. So.
Nope. All right, thanks,
All right, thanks,
Jeff.
Jeff.
All right, Dante, let's move over to a quick recap of the NFL playoffs.
NFL playoffs?
Yes.
Cool. Yep, let's do it.
Wild card games. We saw some very interesting games. Let me just run down the list and the final scores, and if there's anything you want to touch on or talk about, we can do that.
Okay.
Texans went to overtime to beat the Bills 22-19. As we talked about, the Titans beat the Patriots 20-13. Vikings upset the Saints 26-20. And then your Seahawks did beat the Eagles 17-9.
Same score as what was it? Week?
Yeah, it was just a few weeks before that.
Yeah.
I know.
It was crazy.
I mean, Derrick Henry in that Titans win over the Patriots, 182 yards rushing, 22 yards receiving.
He was the difference.
Amazing.
I mean, we can't take anything away from Ryan Tannehill and what he's done for the Titans too, because I mean, thank Derrick Henry for all the times that he's opened up the passing game for you. But I mean, Ryan Tannehill is not any pushover either. So with all the times that he's throwing those long passes, he's confident. He's more confident than he was with the Dolphins, like all the years combined.
He's got a team behind him now. So
and then Mike Vrabel going into New England and doing what they did. He knew the environment. That was the best person to prepare them.
Oh, exactly.
To win that game. So it wasn't a surprise. The Titans pulling that off. We went with the old town favorites, the Patriots, just because.
Yep.
But we said, expect an upset.
Yep.
Texans and the Bills. I wanted the Bills to win that game.
Oh, I did too. So bad.
I just wanted to see an old AFL team get into the Super Bowl.
That
We got
would've
our
been
wish
nice.
with the Chiefs. So
The Vikings went over the Saints. Dalvin Cook, man, he ran for 94 yards, 2 touchdowns. Adam Thielen had 129 yards.
Adam Thielen had like 2 amazing catches that game.
Oh, it was incredible.
He's the most underrated wide receiver as far as hands go. It seems like every time the Vikings get a receiver, they have great hands. Chris Carter, Adam Thielen, we switch races.
Yeah.
From the white guy to the white guy.
and that Seahawks game, man, DK Metcalf, 160 yards receiving. Russell Wilson, 325 yards passing, 45 yards rushing. Amazing.
It's almost like I believe that Russell Wilson is like a Tom Brady. Think about all the receivers that he's had that you don't even hear about anymore.
Yeah.
Doug Baldwin retired.
Yeah.
Nobody even knew who that guy was. But yeah, it's amazing what Russell Wilson does with receivers. So DK Metcalf, I think like we were mentioning, if the Eagles would have drafted DK Metcalf, he would have just been Nelson Aguilar all over again.
It's possible. It really is. Moving on to the divisional round, 49ers beat the Vikings 27-10.
I was surprised by that because of the way that all the talent that the Vikings had.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know. I haven't been a 49ers believer this season, and I feel like Jimmy Garoppolo hasn't really done enough to really cement that team as like one of the best.
Well,
even though they're in the Super Bowl, which is kind of contradictory to say, but I think the Chiefs are going to have a field day on them.
Well, yeah, the rushing game's what got them over the Vikings. 180 yards rushing between Tevin Coleman and Breida and Mostert.
Mm-hmm. As long as they stick with that formula. I mean, what did he throw, like 6 passes by the fourth quarter last week?
Yeah.
The entire game?
It was like 6 of 8 for the whole game.
Yeah. It was amazing. It was like watching a high school team and all they do is run the ball. I've seen that many a time.
The Titans beat the Ravens, which surprised everybody, 28-12. Another Derrick Henry day.
Didn't surprise me.
195 yards rushing, man. Defense.
To see all the Ravens fans cry was amazing to me. Oh, we were so good. I mean, granted, we did pick the Ravens to go to the Super Bowl because who wouldn't have?
Right.
Especially the last 7 weeks of the season, like nobody was stopping Lamar Jackson. But I wasn't surprised as far as the Titans. Their last like 4 weeks of the season, they were just mollywopping people in the AFC South. So yeah. I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised.
I mean, it was a shocker to watch at the beginning. You kind of expected something to happen, and it just didn't.
Yeah.
But the one that did was the next game. Chiefs over the Texans, 51-31.
That was a crazy
that just
game.
Incredible? I mean, Texans jumped on top, and boom, there goes momentum. That was it.
I think it was like the most points ever put up in one quarter.
It was crazy. I mean, Mahomes threw for 5 touchdowns, 321 yards. Kelsey had like 134 yards on 10 catches. I mean,
didn't he have 3 touchdowns too?
Yeah, it was amazing to watch.
Oh, it was crazy. Absolutely.
And then the Packers beat the Seahawks 28-23. Devontae Adams was the receiver with the 160 yards and 2 touchdowns.
I knew the Packers were going to get one off on us, man.
Yeah.
Like that's why I picked them to go to the Super Bowl. But I didn't think their last game was going to be that bad. Holy crap! Let's go ahead and get into that. The 49ers over the Packers, man. That was Mostert doing the most.
Yeah, Mostert.
220 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Cut by the Eagles back in 2015.
Yeah.
Well, other teams cut him too. I can't just lay it on the Eagles, but
it's a scheme that Kyle Shanahan has. Man.
Yeah.
He's very confident. It's something about young coaches. I mean, even with Matt LaFleur, man.
Yeah.
These young guys, Sean McVay, they have a lot of confidence in their players, and they're allowing them to be the best that they can be. So,
well, the conference championship, Chiefs beat the Titans 35-24. Niners beat the Packers 37-20.
Yep.
So that puts us to the Super Bowl, man. Chiefs and Niners.
It's a weird one, right?
It is a weird one. It really is.
You wouldn't think that these two would be in the Super Bowl. It's one of those Super Bowls where you're like, wow, this could be really exciting. But who are these guys?
Exactly.
I think what everybody's kind of focused on is like Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is going to be the spotlight.
He is.
For both teams.
Well, I mean, just in the 2 postseason games, he threw for 615 yards, 8 touchdowns, no interceptions with a 131.5 rating.
This dude's had the best postseason of any quarterback, even just if it stopped right now.
Right.
Now, if he goes in and throws 2 more touchdowns in the Super Bowl and they ended up winning, to follow up an MVP season, then your second season they go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And then to have the most prolific postseason of any quarterback in NFL history, you can't say that this dude is not transcendent. Then your first year, you did Aaron Rodgers sat behind Alex Smith.
Yeah.
And just learned.
You got
this
it.
This is a proven case of do not start your investments early. There's no reason to.
I like that.
Let them sit behind some, like, even for right now.
Right.
I know Geno Smith's the backup to Russell Wilson, right? He might not be the best thing ever, but if you went and took a team like, I don't know, the Colts. You put Geno Smith on the Colts, they might do really bad. Draft a quarterback and just let them learn under him, because nothing like maturity, game time, experience is going to teach that young quarterback a lot more than him being out on the field during that first year and getting roughed up.
Right. I agree with you.
The last game of the season, if you're really losing, throw him in there and see what he does.
Exactly.
That's what they did with Patrick Mahomes, and look what they got.
Yep.
I think it's just the best way to go. Let your investment sit behind somebody that has experience, bite the bullet, and then start them next year.
Chiefs have had a nice balance in those 2 playoff games. 4 touchdowns rushing and 8 in the air. Their defense has had 8 sacks.
Dude, they've been playing lights out. Amazing. And like the last 4 games of the season, what Tyrann Mathieu's been doing for that defense as well. Yeah. He's looking like the old Honey Badger back in LSU.
He has been looking really good.
Yeah, and kind of a resurgence for him, because I know he had that knee injury and
Very true.
Being traded between teams. And I know we're not Chiefs fans or Tyrann Mathieu fans like completely, but that dude has had one of the. If you look at his career, somebody could write a book on his career.
Yeah.
Being at LSU, being a transcendent talent. Like,
that's right.
Everybody knew who the Honey Badger was.
Yep.
The one eye black over one eye. Like, everybody knew this guy. Then to get caught with their quarterback smoking weed.
Yep.
Before the draft. And then to totally change your life over getting drafted by the Cardinals, being with your old teammate, Patrick Peterson.
Right.
Then learning from him, who is... We can argue over the last 10 years that Patrick Peterson's probably still like one of the best cornerbacks.
I agree.
But to learn under him, stay in that system, and then go to the Chiefs, and I think he was with the Texans last year too, right?
Oh, yep.
But yeah, man, he's one of the best.
Yeah,
and it's like you make a mistake, you can bounce back from it. It just depends on how you want to get your life straight. So he's not Antonio Brown for sure.
This is true. All right, let's flip over for a quick review of the 49ers. I'll stick with quarterback position, and Garoppolo in 2 games has thrown for 208 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Alex Smith.
Yeah. They've had in 2 games 6 touchdowns rushing and only 1 receiving, but their defense has had 9 sacks.
Nick Bosa, man.
He is no joke.
Him and his brother. When Joey Bosa sat out that year for, what was it, like 5 or 6 games, and he came out and he had like 3 sacks in his first game.
First game back. Yep.
Every game that Joey Bosa's in, he makes an impact. Same with his brother. And you know me, when he sat out like those 5 games, man, I was like, holy crap. So we got another guest coming on, Randy, back in the seat.
From Maroon Hornet Comics, yeah.
Hold on, let me turn your mic back up here. There we go.
Yeah, all the way from up the street at the comic book place. I love it. All right, we're going to go around the table here. We're finishing up this podcast, Randy, and we just got done talking about the Chiefs and the Niners.
Yep.
We want to get your Super Bowl pick. Who's going to win, and who do you think the MVP will be?
I think Andy Reid finally gets a Super Bowl win, and Patrick Mahomes.
Okay. Dante, what do you think?
I got the Chiefs all day, man. I think if you took Jimmy Garoppolo and Patrick Mahomes and swapped places, the 49ers would win. But I don't think the Chiefs would win. That's how big of a difference Patrick Mahomes makes. It's kind of like the comparison I made with LSU being as good as they were.
Yeah.
And Oklahoma, if you swap places, Jalen Hurts still would have won the national championship with LSU.
Yep.
But we would have had the same result with Oklahoma as Joe Burrow being there. It's just my opinion, but it's kind of how I feel. I think Chiefs all day. You'd be stupid not to pick the hot hand, and especially the quarterback, like I mentioned before, that's had the best statistical postseason in NFL history so far. And he's so calm, cool, and collective, and just puts the team on his back. I'm not counting the man out. The dude was down 28 points and then scored 28 points in 1 quarter to bring him back.
Yeah.
I mean, all bets are off.
So you have him as MVP then, Dante?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, until yesterday, I was leaning towards defense is going to win this game, and I was leaning towards the Niners in a close game. But the more I looked at these stats, the more I'm saying you can't stop that offense. And I do have the Chiefs winning. I do have Mahomes with the MVP, but like I told you a little while ago, Dante, I see the turning point, the spark, the momentum change with either a kickoff return, a punt return, or a long bomb to McCole Hardman. I think he's going to be the difference maker that changes the momentum.
I don't think the Chiefs are going to run the ball as much as people think they're going to if Andy Reid was smart. I mean, really think about it. You got Nick Bosa and all those guys who are just going to chew up your offensive line all night. It's going to be a tough night for them. But you got somebody like Patrick Mahomes who's going to roll out the pocket, throw a no-look pass to McCole Hardman for 70 yards. Then the next series, he's going to throw another 60 bomb to Tyreek Hill. And it's going to totally demoralize that defensive front. It's going to totally demoralize that defensive backs because they're going to be tired. That defense is going to be tired. They're going to get outworked. And it's not going to be from running. It's going to be from passing.
Yeah.
They're going to put so much pressure and everything. It's going to be absolutely crazy.
So, Dante, I do have one question for you as a Jag fan.
Uh-oh, here we go.
So, how do you feel that Gardner Minshew wins Pepsi Rookie of the Week 7 times and is not even considered for Rookie of the Year?
Don told me that the last podcast, and I looked into that. And I was like, you know what? Randy was right. Yeah, he's going to get passed up, and it's probably going to be somebody like Josh Jacobs or something that's going to win it. But yeah, that's absolutely crazy. It's like how many times can you win Rookie of the Week, not be considered, and then you get gypped at the end because you know the Jags invested so much money into Nick Foles. Yeah. At this point in time, you just stay with the hot hand. I mean, it could have been the same situation with Tom Brady and Drew Bledsoe. Oh, we paid so much money to have Drew Bledsoe, where he's going to start over you. We can't make these mistakes. It seems like our team always makes these little mistakes like that, and it tends to be a snowball effect from there. So, I mean, if I was Gardner, would you think that you would have that much confidence playing next year? It's like, oh, you want to start Nick Foles over me? I got Rookie of the Week 7 times. I guess that doesn't mean anything. It's kind of kick in the face.
Yeah, but, a little bit.
I think Gardner doesn't care what they do. I think he's just having fun.
I absolutely love his attitude, man. Yeah,
I do too.
It's kind of transcendent, like Cam Newton. Cam Newton, when he has fun, they win games. That's why I think he's going to the Steelers.
I know, man. How many times have we heard that this year? Let's see if it happens.
I know the Steelers fans are going to be pissed off.
No,
if that
they don't
happens.
like that. I know. I've heard that.
But just think about it. If Cam Newton goes to the Steelers, plays for a player coach like Mike Tomlin's going to be like, do what you got to do, pal.
Yep, man.
We need Juju in the game. People don't buy his jerseys 5,000 times. By week 5, Cam Newton's going to have the most sold jersey because I think the Steelers have the most fans in the United States. It's like the Cowboys and the Steelers. Yeah. Cam Newton's going to have the number 1 jersey sales next year, too. That's my prediction.
Okay. We'll
Thanks
see.
for having me back on, guys.
Yeah, no problem,
thanks, Randy. All right, let's wrap this up, Dante.
All right. So, what are we wrapping up with?
We're going to wrap up with going to get a count here and see who, if we got enough people to get this rock, paper, scissors tournament going.
All right.
I think we got some excited people that are looking to play and looking for us to wrap up, so you know what to say, man.
Yeah. There's never a gimme.
Always go for 2.
You always go for 2.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jeff at Holy Grounds. Thanks, Randy, again for coming on. Out here in Oxford, Pennsylvania, guys. Come check them out. And then the Sawmill's right across the street. Grab your coffee, go get you some dinner, and then hand over to Randy's, buy a comic book, and then head down the street to, what was that, Toot Sweets?
Yeah.
And get some candy on the way home. Those chocolate-covered blueberries were good last time. All right, guys. We'll see you later.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Go for 2 podcast. Please follow us on Instagram and Facebook at the Go for 2 podcast. Also, if you liked what you heard and don't want to miss an episode, please follow us on iTunes.